Okay, hello everybody. Thank you for joining us. And I'm going to just share my screen and welcome you all to Applications and Review Processes Made Easy. So we're very excited to talk you through lots of different scenarios and different things you can do to make things easier for yourselves and your users. Let's just start off by introducing ourselves. My name is Louise and I'm the Chief Growth Officer at CiviPlus. I actually have a background in fundraising, so I really know what it's like to use lots of different CRMs, and I know what it's like to have a good one filled with great data that you can really make the most of, and I won't say anything else about not so good ones. So I'm going to hand over to Jack to introduce himself.
Yeah, hi everyone. So my name is Jack. I'm the account manager at CiviPlus, and I'm responsible for working and supporting with all of the charities, membership organisations that we work with, from the first point of contact through to their project end. And I'll hand over to Alex.
Yeah, I'm Alex. I'm senior marketing manager here, and I help us organise lots of these webinars. And yeah, I deal with a lot of applications and kind of web forms myself. So a familiar topic for me. Pass back to Louise.
Great, thank you. I can see a few more people have joined us, so welcome. You've come just in the nick of time. So here's our agenda for this session today: types of processes, the as-is, which some of your organizations may be using at the moment, making it easy, more about CiviPlus, and then we'll have some time for questions at the end. But before we get started, we just want to do a quick poll. Those of you who've been with us before will know we do this at the start of every webinar. Oh, someone else is just joining us now. Let's let them in and they can join the poll as well. So we just want to know a little bit about the audience who are with us today. Obviously, there'll be more people watching this afterwards, but it's always good to get a feel for who's in the room now. So we're just kind of curious what kind of database you're already using. Is it CiviCRM or CiviPlus or another CRM, or are you on spreadsheets? What kind of application processes do you run? And how automated are your current processes? So we'll just give everyone a little bit of time to fill that in. I can see lots of things moving on my screen. So we'll just give it one more minute, because I think someone's just joined us. So we'll give them a second to catch up and hopefully answer. Okay. All right. So let's end the poll now. And we'll share the results. So we've got a mixture of Civi and other CRM users, which will be interesting. And we've got a lot of people who have got membership applications, a couple of people running awards applications, volunteering and grants processes as well. And how automated is everyone? Oh, one person who is fully automated. Well, congrats to you. So hopefully life is nice and easy for you already. And some other people who definitely could use a little bit more automation in their systems, it seems. So hopefully we can give you some good tips today. Let's oops, have I stopped sharing? No, I've reshared the results. Sorry about that. Okay. Right, let's move on. Okay, so we just want to start off by talking through the different types of processes that you might encounter working in a nonprofit, and I will hand over to Alex for that.
Yeah, so I mean, we've given it a bit of a spoiler really in the poll as to kind of processes that you can run. Obviously, a really obvious one that lots of you seem to be running is your membership application processes. These can, be all sorts of things. They can be really quite simple, just sign up for membership. They can be really involved. We work with some organizations who have, really long applications with, need lots of reviews, and it really just depends on what you're doing. Awards, that's another common one. So giving out awards for various things, something that's in your field, whatever that might be, again, varies a lot. Volunteers, another obvious one. Not everyone does volunteers, of course, but if you do volunteers, it's really nice to have a kind of process that you can get those applications in more formally sometimes and kind of have a look at them. Maybe you'll put them through some training, and there's all different ways you can do this depending on how you're structured. Grants, of course. So this might be, you want to keep track of grants that you're applying for, or also grants that other people are kind of applying to you for. So these are really good to have, processes set up for dealing with. Board or trustee membership. So this is something that, lots of the organizations we work with have boards or trustees, and, they might want new ones. So great to have the way to apply for those. Competitions, nice little one sometimes that, you're on to run a competition. Nice to have a better way to track it than just kind of keeping it all over the place and putting it in a more central place. And of course, there are so many more, we put other in the poll, no one put other, but there probably are sorts of applications and processes that you're running that you might not have come to the top of your mind that are really nice to keep track of in a kind of like more structured way.
Okay.
So over to Louise.
Back to me. Yes, thank you. Okay, so we're going to talk through first the kind of like types of as-is processes there are. And I think that considering that some of you who are here today had said that things are not really that automated, then some of this might speak to you, and it'd be interesting to sort of see where you feel like your organization is sitting. First of all, we're going to talk about who is this for. When we talk about application processes, who is this for? Well, we've broken this down into 3 categories. We have users. So these are really the applicants, the participants, the volunteers, whoever is actually, making the application. And then we have the administrators. So the people, the staff who are coordinating the process, who are managing the application process. And then we also have this third category of reviewers, which may not be relevant for every type of application, but a lot of application processes that we deal with our clients do involve some sort of review process. And so having an easy way for that to happen is also really, really desirable, and actually helps make things much more efficient. So we're going to go through the as-is process and the making it easy process, talking about these 3 different types of categories. So let's start off with as-is for users. So we've got a little scale here with no automation to some automation. So let's start off. Your application process might be a paper application, and this might literally mean you need to download it, print it out, fill it in, and then like scan it back, or email that, a picture of it back, or even pop it in the post. So obviously that is very manual for the users. You might have a digital document download, which, makes things a little bit automated, which means they can download something, fill it in, and then send it back by email straight away without having to print anything out and, scan it all. And then this kind of like level up really would be maybe using some sort of web form, primarily maybe Google Forms that are really popular at the moment, which does give you some automation that people can fill in the application on the form that will all get stored centrally, and then you can export that to a CSV to then, look at the data of the applications that have come in. So for our users, a lot of this, there's lots of different levels between different organizations. And we want to sort of show how we can really bring this all together and to make it easy for everyone. So before we do that, though, let's talk about the as-is process for administrators. So the number one way of managing applications is really, or managing data, if you don't have a CRM to support you, is using spreadsheets. So this will include a lot of manual data entry, including upload. So it might be that you can upload that CSV file that you've got from your Google form into a spreadsheet, which is great. But often there is a lot of manual data entry when, different things might happen along the way. There's more people coming in, which is great. Thanks for joining us. Also, an administrator would be in charge of coordinating communications to applicants. That means when they receive the application, when there's a status change of the application, and this can actually be quite manual and hard to keep track of if you've got lots of different applications running at once, or lots of different stages to an application. They would also be in charge of coordinating reviews, or internal or external reviewers. And then with that, there can be, lots of stages being managed, and they need to gather the feedback, maybe ask for more info depending on what the application requires. And all of this can become really tricky when dealing with multiple processes and high volume. So maybe if you've got grant application process open and you've got like hundreds of people applying, there's a lot to manage all at once, and it's getting that balance between maybe you've got high volume but a simple process, maybe you've got a complex process but actually it's not that many applicants, but you want to be set up so that you can handle all of the extremes and all of the different combinations. So let's now talk about the as-is for reviewers. So Generally, this is a bit simpler, like applications can be sent out to review by email, which is quite simple. But then I would say quite easy for things to get lost or be difficult to keep track of, because, you know, maybe a reviewer's got, you know, a work email, a personal email, and a something else email, especially if they're external and they're doing a voluntary review, maybe a scholarship award or something like this. So it is a simple way, but I think hard to track things off. A way to help mitigate that is to use web forms or third-party tools to assist in this reviewing process. But then a lot of that is not connected to the spreadsheets and not connected to this and that, and will generally need coordinating, and also can add extra cost if you're running something that's quite complex. There can be costs involved for that as well. So that's all the as-is processes. Now let's talk about making it easy using CiviCRM and CiviPlus. Those are our anchor points for this, this webinar conversation. So let's just start off. Not everyone here is a Civi user. So CiviCRM is the #1 open source CRM designed specifically for nonprofits. It's used by over 9,500 organizations worldwide currently. And Compuco, which is the company we work for, has been working with CiviCRM for over a decade. And we have created CiviPlus, which is based on CiviCRM. So CiviPlus brings together all the very best features of CiviCRM from all around the community, combines it with all of our Compuco know-how and our suite of product enhancements, which we're going to talk about today, to give nonprofit organizations the best possible CiviCRM experience, all hosted and maintained by us at an affordable price for you. So that's just kind of introducing CiviCRM and CiviPlus. Let's just do a little bit of a comparison so you know where you are and what to look at. So CiviCRM, who is this beneficial for? Who can this make application processes easy for? Well, this is really for the staff users, for the administrators, really great for managing the process. And what can it do? It can manage the back-end processes. It can create web forms for the actual application forms, and it can help set up some automations as well. So when we're looking at the those of you who do have a CiviCRM, the setup, well, CiviCRM is an open source platform, so different extensions will be, you know, everyone will have their own specific configuration. So it might be that some of the extensions we'll talk about today may need to be enabled or may look different. You might have a different version. So just to be aware of that as we go through this presentation. And just to tell you a bit about CiviPlus, which is what we've developed. So who is this beneficial for in terms of application processes? Well, it's both the staff users and the applicants, and actually reviewers as well. I've realized we should put there. And it's basically you get all the same process help, web forms and automations, but it also includes a self-service portal, which is really, really useful for the users, the applicants, sorry, and the reviewers. And in terms of setup, well, everything that you see, everything we're showing you today is available out of the box. So you don't need to worry about setting anything up at all. Okay, so that is all the introduction. I'm now going to hand over to Alex to talk through the first bit of making applications easy for users.
Yes, so it's a bit we want to talk about. How can we make it easy? Well, first thing that we want to talk about really here within both CiviCRM and CiviPlus, you know, and within lots of your CRMs will be that you can have sign-up forms online, which makes such a difference. You know, we work with all sorts of organizations, and some of them do just, you know, do downloadable documents for some of their applications. And it's not, you know, it's something that we come across not too uncommonly. But here instead, you can have a sign-up form online. And these are fantastic because they put all of your data into kind of like a central kind of area. You know, it just goes straight into it from the form. Applicant puts it in. You don't need to process it and all the kind of, you know, admin that goes with it. And then you can just deal with it directly from your database. It's fantastic. So within here, you can also do collect any custom data. So it's not just, you know, very rigid. I can only collect, you know, first name, last name. If you have anything that you want to put on there, which is a bit more specific to your organization, that's very easy to set up. You can have simple or conditional forms. We'll be talking a little bit more about those in a minute. Jack's going to give you a quick demo. So simple form or, you know, conditional as in different things can appear under different circumstances. You can auto-validate certain data. This is a fantastic one. So say there are certain things, you want something to be filled in a certain way. You want the system to kind of say, if you put this in the box, I'm not going to accept this. So you can almost kind of do a mini pre-review of some of the data. You can get the system to kind of check things for you, which is fantastic. And as well as this, you can do some automated emails around your form. So you can get an auto response. So instead of having to manually say, oh, well, yes, I've received your application to someone, which, is important to do for their peace of mind, but at the same time isn't particularly, a valuable use of your time necessarily. You can get the system to do it for you. However, what we can do more specifically within CiviPlus using the portal is you can also have draft applications, which is a great one, especially if you've got a really involved process of some kind. If you've got several pages of information to fill in for quite complicated, maybe a grant or something, you can just draft it and just save it there and kind of come back to it later as a user, which is really good, especially, if there's a document or something they might not have to hand, but they can start and then come back to it later. And another great thing that they can do with it is that they can update, you can see all the updates on the statuses of the application. So this is something that you can customize in the back end, and it makes it much more transparent. It's not, oh, is it even there? It's no, I can see it's currently being submitted. Oh, now it's in the review, or you can set all of this in the back end, and it really gives a kind of visibility to the user, so they don't have to, be pestering you as to where it is in the process. They know exactly where it is whenever they want. And with that, we were talking about the web forms, and I'll pass over to Jack, who has some videos for you.
Brilliant, thank you.
We'll do the really smooth screen share swap.
Can you see the right screen?
You can see a pink and purple.
So that is no.
Great.
Yeah, bear with me 2 seconds. I don't know why it's just done that.
That's all right.
You see the right one?
There you go.
Pops off. Cool. So I'm going to go through 3 different videos here, and to start with will be a very sort of basic membership sign up form, and then I'm going to move on to conditional membership sign up and also some of the portal as well. So just to show you and just to reiterate a little bit what I was talking about earlier on, there are a number of forms that either the user or, for example, Compuco as your partner could configure for the platform or membership sign up. So this is just one. So the member would go onto your website, they would type in all the information that you would want to capture as part of a membership sign up form. They can choose specific membership types. Obviously, you can list the cost variations and stuff like that here on the form as well. They can go through to a next page if it's a multi-stage application. They can actually take the payment as well. So we've got a number of built-in payment processors with CiviPlus and with CiviCRM as well. And that will log the membership payment against the particular membership record. They can obviously populate this with all of their billing information, go through to submit, and they can fill in, submit it all. And what will happen in the back end is a membership will be created, an automated email will go out to the member saying, thank you for signing up, and all the details that they need. And then you as a membership manager moving forward will be able to easily renew and manage all the memberships really seamlessly. But from a user experience, that was really straightforward. Then if we go on to the video 2, there's also more complex forms that we can build into Civi and CiviCRM alike. And if this loads, which doesn't want to. So very, very similar to what we seen a minute ago. However, there's a number of other stages that we can take this member through. So they can fill in all their information, specify if they've previously held a membership with you. They can let you know their interest as well. So we can click a few of these. Once they click comedy, it will show along the bottom some additional elements here. So we've got the hear from us. So this is recognized that this individual member is interested in comedy, and it's offered them the chance to sign up to the comedy mailing list as well. Then if we go through to step 2, they can also take some more questions. So you can do yes or no with other conditions. So you can see when they've clicked yes, it's displayed a number of other options that they can fill in themselves. Because they've clicked the bottom tab, it's enabled another text box that they can fill in. And again, this will all be tracked within the CRM. So all this information that they're populating on this form will be automatically pulled into the CRM for you to manage. So now we're on to the third stage. All the questions that they've filled in and the boxes that they've ticked within the form, it has recommended the most suitable membership for this particular individual. And you can see when we click into membership type, there's 3 different types of that particular membership. So silver, bronze, and gold. And this just enables them to do that last level of selection, in essence, choose what they want to pay. Their package already includes public liability insurance, but if they wish to add enhanced cover, they can do that via the form. And again, in the back end of the CRM, it will log all their add-ons with their membership, which you can manage and report on as well. They can go through to the final payment stage, fill in all their information, click submit, and again, they will receive that automated email in the back, and their membership will be set up automatically for them in the CRM. Then from the last stage, like Alex mentioned earlier, we've got a really powerful members portal built in to CiviPlus, which is one of the key benefits of using CiviPlus. So member has logged in via your website, they filled in all their information, and they can see here that now we've gone from membership to grant application. So there's an announcements tab to say this grant or award has become open. They can click to follow the link. And now they've been taken through to a grant application form again, which you can create and set up, and they will begin to fill this in. So they can fill and populate all this information as much as they wish. They can go through to the next stage, and there's a lot of different block variations and field variations that we can do here, like drop downs, free text, ticks box, whatever you want to do. People can attach documents to these as well. If it's a very long application, the benefit of having it in the portal actually is they can actually save a draft. So they've got this area called My Applications here, where they can see the draft of their application when they last modified it, and they can also see all of the other submitted applications that they've submitted to you via the CRM and the stage that it's at. So this will make a lot more sense later when I actually go into the reviewer element. But in essence, when a reviewer or an admin moves that along the stages in the CRM, it will notify the applicant within their portal as well. So now going back to the application that they just saved a draft as, we just click actions, continue, and it takes them straight back to where they left off. So they can continue filling in this application, populating all that information, click next. They can request a particular funded amount if that's what you want to offer. They can attach supporting documents as well, so like accounts and statements. They can fill it all in, and then they can click submit. And then it should say, congratulations, you've now submitted an application. There's no more drafts found. And you can see that this fund in 2023 has gone from draft to a successful application, and the status of that is new as well. And it also gives them an application ID, which is really useful for if they ever do phone you up and request some information, they can easily just give you that ID. Cool, and I will hand back to Alex to take you through all this.
Yeah, so applications for, and how does it work for, the admin? So I guess this is what lots of us would be doing, how do we manage it on the back end? And this is actually going to be quite similar for if you have CiviCRM or CiviPlus, because, in the back end of the CRM here. And as I said already, it logs all of the information that any of the users are putting on the form directly into the CRM for you. So don't need to do any of that manual data entry, reduces the chance of, something being inputted wrong, and just saves you so much time. So it's fantastic in that way. Another thing that you can do is that you can assign the applications to process managers. So depends on the size of your team, but maybe you have, multiple different people who could be reviewing these things, or maybe different departments might review different processes. So it's really important to have kind of a manager for each application process, and you can do that quite easily within the back end. You can move the application through stages. So this is a really nice one that you can keep track of. We've all managed probably applications in spreadsheets at some point or another, which is a fun process. But here you can just make it very simple for yourself. You can assign colors, as you can see on the just on the screenshot on the side is like a yellow associated with the stage that they're in there. Make it very visually easy to see what stage things are in, and see when things move between stages. You can create tasks or automate their creation. There's so much you can do with that. That's a whole kind of like 5-minute talk in itself. You can create timelines for yourself with automated tasks, all the things that you might want to do, like say create an automated task to set up a phone interview. And I think Jack will be showing what a few of those look like in a minute or two. You can automate all the comms after certain conditions are met. So possibly, after someone has had a successful application, maybe you want to have their an email sent out to them saying, congratulations, you're successful. Now, you could send that out manually, or you could just have kind of like a template sent out automatically for you. But again, it saves you time. It fills in, you can get to drag through details. You can use tokens, kind of like the mail merge kind of stuff, where it can just kind of take various bits of the applications and put it into a template email. So you can personalize it still, but it makes it a lot easier and simpler than having to write it all out yourself. And of course, another part of this is that you can automate record updates after conditions are met as well. So, again, after that successful application, maybe that you want to update their record, presumably to say that they're a member now. You don't need to do that manually using the system. You can just tell the system, hey, if I've said they have a successful membership application, set them as a member, and then that will automatically assign them into various groups, and all the clever automation you can have in the background. So massive, massive time saver for you as an admin. And most successful stage. And with that, Jack's going to give you a little kind of flavor of what this might look like in the back end.
Brilliant, thank you. So a moment ago, we saw Rebecca fill in a grant application within the portal. So the benefit, like I said earlier, of having it in the portal is that they can review drafts and look at the status. But a key thing to mention is that this grant application can live, for example, on your website or be sent out via email. It doesn't have to live in the portal. So now I'm signed in the back end of the CRM as the grant manager. So you can see that along the top, and you can see Rebecca's name within the CRM as well. So we're actually in the application dashboard. You can see the status that it's at, the application ID, and also a number of other bits of information. So we're in the People's tab now. So this will show me, again, who the application manager is, who the applicant is, if they are related to a particular organization, so musical chairs, for example, and also who the assigned reviewer is. So because we've set the conditions up, it's automatically assigned me as a grant manager. It's automatically assigned Roger as the application reviewer. And of course, Rebecca is the individual who's applied for the application as well. So then if we just jump out of the People's tab, we will go across to the Summary tab, and that will show you other key bits of information related to this particular application. So it can have statuses, open tasks. So like Alex mentioned a moment ago, it has auto-assigned me as the grant manager 4 tasks that I need to complete. And I'll show you these in a moment. Also, we've got some general information on the application and also some other details in the Details tab. So this has now collected all of the fields that Rebecca's filled in her application and any documents she's assigned as well. And it's attached that into her application within the CRM as well for you to look at. Going back to these activities, so you can see other things like milestones, activities, and also there's just going back a little bit, there's a calendar view of all the things that need to happen at particular dates, which you could just hover over as well. So here's the task that it's auto reviewed and auto assign me. So we've got internal review, we've got request references, instructor and initial review as well. So we could tick some of these off once they are done. And once they are all completed, it will auto email Rebecca with any information or additional information that you need. Again, you can do that manually if you want to have that bit more control, but we can automate that using templates. And now we've reviewed all that, we can take it from initial review to reference required, for example. So now we're taking it through to the second stage, fill in all the information, and an auto activity will go out to Rebecca to request the rest of that information. And the cool thing about this is we've actually built a lot of email integrations with CiviCRM and CiviPlus as well. So depending on what email you use, you may be able to drag and drop the email comms from your inbox straight into the application as well, which is really, really powerful and saves you a lot of time. Then jumping back out, I'll hand over to Alex before I show you a little bit more later on.
Yeah, so the third part of our equation, the reviewers. So not every process has reviewers, sometimes it is just the user and the admin, can be quite direct, but quite a lot of the people that we talk to and the clients we work with might have reviewers. They could be internal and quite often they're actually external as well. So one thing that you can do with both CiviCRM and CiviPlus is that you can have email and task alerts when a new review is needed or assigned to them, rather than having to manually tell your reviewer, look, there's a new review you need to do, just have it automatic. Again, makes it so much simpler to keep track of for both the reviewer and yourself. But another thing that you can do just within both of them is that there is a back-end review interface that you can have. And within that, you can have a scoring system. within which you can also kind of like have status changes, and you can update these kind of things within the back end there. And another thing that you can do within the whole process area there is that you can do multiple reviews. So, you know, maybe you want to have 3 different reviewers on a process. Maybe it's a very involved process, so it's a really important one to you. There you can have multiple reviews. What about with just CiviPlus? So this is something that is quite unique to the portal area. There is an exclusive area within the portal, which is going to be really important for your external reviewers, because maybe you might not want to give them all access, you know, to your CRM in the internal bits. You might just want to have them, you know, you want them reviewing, but you might not want them kind of like digging around in some of your data. And it's really simple. Then you can have an exclusive area just for them, where they can kind of log in and just have a look at it. And Jack will be showing you that in a moment. And another great thing that you can do here is that the reviews can be saved as drafts. So again, just like the users, the reviewers don't necessarily need to do all of the reviewing, you know, at once. They can kind of get halfway through, you know, go for a break, come back a bit later in the day, or whatever it is they need, or maybe they need to clarify something with you, whatever the reason that they're coming back to it. Fantastic little thing they can do. And I think, yeah, another great thing that you can do here is you can also anonymize all the applicant names. And, you know, maybe for you, it's quite important to kind of, you know, some kind of fairness policy or something that your reviewers don't necessarily know all the details about the people that you're dealing with. And this way they can just kind of review them on a very kind of factual basis without any of that kind of information. You know, data protection, of course, is another key consideration here. So these are all nice little things you can do within the portal. And I'll pass over to Jack so you can see what both of these kind of different processes look like.
Brilliant, thank you. So to start with, we've got the internal back-end reviewer within the CRM itself, and then after I'll show you the reviewer portal within the self-service portal. So you can now see that I've changed from a grant manager to Roger reviewer, and I have a activity that has been auto-assigned to me within my CRM, and I'll also receive an email to notify me of this change as well. So an email has been sent to me, and you can see that I've got the review that needs to be carried out. So it's been assigned to me. I can then go into the actual activity and begin my review. So I can go through, and again, we're conscious that every organization we work with has different things stipulated here. So we can reconfigure this to suit particular application types as well. So the reviewer can go down, tick all of the boxes that are relevant, leave notes. Again, there's a lot of different field types that we can deploy here as well. Just going down a little bit. There's some more comment boxes. They can see who the application applicant is. Again, it can be anonymized if you wish to do that as well. Moving forward, we can tick this off. You can see that the draft has been saved, and we can tick it off as complete, and it will then move that application to completed automatically, and it will move that application along in the pipeline for the final reviewer to have the final say. Then from a portal perspective, so from a CiviPlus exclusive perspective, a really powerful area that we developed for one of our clients is the external review area. So you can see here I'm now logged in as Roger, and not all individuals would see this, but along the bottom we've got the review applicants area. So because Rebecca earlier started her application, it's actually anonymized that for us. So in the portal we just see it as anonymous 5. It's got the same application ID and the same application, but it's saying that the stage is awaiting review. So rather than giving them back-end CRM access, they've just got the portal access so they can review all these applications. So they can click into review or view. And now they can see some tick boxes that, again, is the same as what they see in the CRM, but it's just here. They can fill this all in, save it as a draft, so they can come back to it, go grab a copy if they want to, and then they can review it finally. So we can go in, make the final review, fill all these in, submit the review, and it will say successful here. So that will then remove the application along in the CRM for the final admin to have the control and be able to see where it's at. And now Roger has actually done his job. And we can add some final comments and approve or reject or shortlist as well, and update the status if they want to come back and make a change later on. And then I'll hand over to Louise.
Great, thanks. I'm actually going to steal the screen back from you. So let me just do that. Did that work? Yes. No, yes.
Yep.
Oh, you're muted, Louise.
Well, thanks for telling me. I was chatting away to myself. Okay, so what did I just say? I said, right, well, we've given you, quite a good overview of like the different ways that, using a CRM, CiviCRM or CiviPlus can help you with your processes. And I think it'd be really good for, there's so many different types of processes. Some will be more simple, some will be more complex. But I hope this is giving you some things to think about, how you can, where you are on the scale of how easy and automated things are for you and how smooth and clear they are for your users, your staff and your reviewers. And so we just want to kind of finish off by taking you through like the comparative manual versus automated process, and kind of like, I would sort of like say to everyone, maybe look and see what you're doing within your organization and then see where changes could really help improve the stages for you. So we're talking about, staff administrators receiving an application for a grant application. They then need to then acknowledge receipt. They need to send an email if that application has come through via email or post, or by Google web form either. You want to have a proper acknowledgement receipt. They then need to process that application, put it into whatever database or spreadsheet they're using to keep track of everything. It will then need to be sent to a reviewer. The reviewer will then need to send back their review. There may be any additional information that needs to be requested. There will need to be a final decision made, of course, but then that decision will need to be recorded and the status updated and the communications sent out to the applicant. So all of this is a manual process for your staff at the moment. But just comparatively, using a system such as CiviPlus, we can really streamline this process. So we receive the application, but we have it auto logged into the CRM, the response and the application itself. And you can even then set up an automatic status change and send to go out to the first reviewer, alert the reviewer, have it all set up in the portal, and off they go. The reviewer will need to manually review it on the portal. There's no getting away from that. But then if they would like to request information or ask for references, they can move things along to a different status, and that automatic request can go out with a form, and then things can automatically come back in. The final decision will be made by people, lovely people such as yourselves. And then once that decision's been made and the status has been changed, the communications can automatically go out to the participant. The record can be updated, and basically it can all be done in a very smooth and easy way. And again, when you're managing lots of applications at one time, I mean, maybe there's lots of people, don't get through, sending out communications to lots of different people, maybe don't get past the first stage. Really, you want to focus on the people who are trying to get past all the other stages. And this is basically a way to just kind of streamline everything for you, but at the same time, make everyone applying to you feel like you're acknowledging them, you're keeping them updated along the way. By using the tokens we talked about, you can still personalize all of these communications. Dear Sam, thank you for your application. Unfortunately, you've been unsuccessful. Or actually, we'd like to ask for extra information from you. And it's really important to keep that personalization, have nobody be missed along the way. And then also make life easier for yourself so that you can really focus on, lots of other things. I know everyone in every organization has always got loads going on. So we want to try and make things easier. So to conclude, how do we make things easy? So we put here clearly structured processes, which obviously I think can be for any process in any way. But if you're using a system like CiviPlus or CiviCRM, you can see that process that is mapped out in the system stage by stage. The stages are very clear, very defined, and they can also be replicated for any type of application, which is really great in the system. So maybe you run this same kind of process 4 times a year. You've got a very clearly set up structured process. Or it may be you run 2 different types of applications, which have 2 different sets of stages. And within Civi, you can create both of those workflows and have them running simultaneously and not get confused and muddled up which application is for which process and which workflow. And I think that's really important. Maybe you've got a volunteer application and also membership application and also grant application, and all of those stages will be different. So really great to have it all clearly structured and set up within the CRM. Automation where possible. I mean, we've been talking about automation. And this is really only possible with having a strong CRM that can really support this and have, someone was asking about, also moving things along statuses when certain conditions are met. All of these can be set up using Civi rules. And yes, we'll also say making things easy is about having all your processes in one place. So you're not managing several spreadsheets, you're not managing several email inboxes. If you've got like volunteer at something or grant application at something else, having it all in one place, coming into one system, giving you that single source of truth that we always talk about in CRM world. And also the other thing we always talk about in our CRM world is a 360-degree view of the process. So you can really see at any one time how many applicants you have, what stages they're at. You can run reports on this. Everything you've seen, we've shown you today is reportable. So that's going to be really important to see how comparing year on year, or how many applicants you've got and all of these different things, how many people make it through, depending on, again, what your process is. So that's a really great extra way to make it easier for you now and in the future. And again, we just always, this was all focused really at the moment, this last bit, on the staff administrators, but making it easy, giving easy access for reviewers and easy access for users to actually make that application. You don't want barriers to entry. People always talk about barriers to entry. So making it easy for your users to apply, easy for your reviewers to do the reviewing. If you're asking someone a favor to be on a panel for a scholarship or an award or something, you want to make it easy and comfortable for them. So that kind of sums up our presentation about applications. Obviously, there's an awful lot more we could talk about, but we just wanted to give a nice overview today, and hopefully, if people have got more questions, we'd love to talk more, either at the end or in a one-to-one session. But just before we go, we want to just tell you a little bit more about CiviPlus. So the basics are, it's non-profit dedicated, it's easy to use, it's powerful, and it's a cost-effective all-in-one package. So all the features that we've shown, and I'm going to talk about in a minute, just come out of the box. And the idea being that it's got everything that you need to lay the digital foundations for your organization's future. So I'm going to go through, a lot of the features that CiviPlus has, and some of these might not be relevant for you now, but you never know, in the future it might well be. And that's why we talk about future-proof in the organization with a system like CiviPlus. So what can we do? So we can manage contacts, and that's really important to know that Civi really understands the relationships in non-profit organizations, that one contact can have several different types of relationships. They could be a donor, they could be a volunteer, they could have a membership, they could be on the board, and you kind of want to have all of that information, connecting them to every area in the system and every person they're interacting with in the system, all in one place. We can take payments online for events or for memberships or for any add-ons that you might have, track fundraising opportunities if you are a fundraising organization. There's pipeline tracking and opportunity tracking and donation forms that can be created, managing memberships, of course, which you've already seen some of that, but Civi can really handle managing complex membership structures. And I think we showed some of that in the conditional form a little bit earlier, that there were professional memberships and there were 3 options there, and there were other memberships, and it can manage all of that really easily. There's a built-in events module, so you don't need to go elsewhere to make your online registration forms for events. You can also do CPD tracking if that's something that your organization does, and also do conference booking. CiviPlus can take, big conference bookings, which is really great as well. There's a drag and drop email builder. So again, you can build beautiful looking emails in the system. You don't have to go elsewhere to a MailChimp or something else. It's all within the system, which means all your data is held in one place. And when you send out your email communications, you can see on someone's record immediately if they've opened it or not. And you also have a really great ability to segment your data within CiviPlus, which is really good for personalization. We've done a whole webinar about that, and I think there's more to come actually about segmentation. We did one about creating personalization, I think, and we're going to do one about segmentation coming up. Case management. If you manage cases through your system, you can create the workflows similar to what we've seen today. Task dashboards, my favorite thing. So you can have, as we saw today, tasks assigned for reviewing purposes or moving an application through a process. You can assign tasks to yourself. Remember to phone so-and-so, or you can assign a task to somebody else, another member of staff, which I love doing. Can you do this? Can you do that? And then they have to tick it off. Reporting and analytics, there's lots of built-in reports, as we talked a little bit about before. You want to be able to report on your data and see what you're doing, see where the insights are, and that will help you plan for the future. Surveys and petitions are essential for gathering some of this data and information. So we always recommend to our clients to send out regular surveys, ask the people what they want, basically, find out what is of interest to them, what they like, what they don't like, and then store all that data in the system and then use those insights to help offer a better service or help to drive the strategy and the future of your organization. Managing volunteers, well, we've talked about the volunteer management, and obviously having the ability to upload documents. Maybe they need certification or whatever it might be, training qualifications. You can track all of that in the system. And again, tracking applicants, well, we've just done a whole session about that. Grant management, we've just talked about that, but there is also the other end of grant management where you can set up payment schedules and understand managing the money that you're giving out as well as the applications coming in. We have a great certificate generator built into our portal, which can be really lovely for thanking volunteers, membership certification, whatever else you might like to give a certificate for. And of course, the self-service portal, which is unique to CiviPlus. And we've seen quite a little bit of that already today, but there is actually a lot more to show of the self-service portal. There is a webinar you can refer to about that as well. So just to finish off, we'd absolutely love to talk. Jack and myself are always available. We'd love to give you a personalized demo and have a really personal conversation, because we know that everybody uses the systems differently and everyone has different needs. Some of the questions that have been popping up in the chat along the way are showcasing that straight away. So please do get in touch if you would like to chat more. And here it is. Oh, I knew there was a webinar coming up about segmentation. So Alex is going to be hosting a marketing masterclass next Thursday, the 20th of July, with a focus on email segmentation, which is really important and key for engaging with your supporters, your members, donors, volunteers, whoever it may be, and really tailoring that communication and understanding how to segment, why to segment, and the best way to analyze the results. So we hope to see you there.
Yeah, one more before the summer.
Last one before the summer. Well, yeah, squeezing it
summer,
in.
But
2 in July. Are we crazy? So yeah, no, really excited for that one. And that's it. That is the end of this webinar. So are there any specific questions that have not already been answered? I'm very happy to open up the floor. Or comments, thoughts, ideas. Okay, well, if not, then I will pause the recording there. Hold on one moment and say thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we would love to see you again soon.